Did you think winning in live poker would be easy? Well, I did. I've played live poker for 11 years. I'm crushing now, but I wish I'd known how to do it smarter. So to help you succeed in live poker much easier, here are 20 short lessons I learned that will help you crush the 1-2 and 1-3 games you play. Lesson 1. When I first started playing live poker, I got really emotionally attached to big hands. And then I got really annoyed when I lost with them. Tilt cost me more than any bad beat in the early days. Because not only did this tilt kill my win rate, it also made me miserable. That's why tilt control is absolutely crucial for success in live poker. Lesson number 2. I used to sit at the table and after folding King Deuce offsuit and 9-5 offsuit for half an hour, I had enough. C2 raised to 10, I 3-bet 10-7 suited in the hijack. He called, I barreled 3 streets, he showed kings, and I lost half my stack. Lesson number 2 is therefore to be patient. Wait for good spots, don't force action. Live poker rewards patient players. Lesson number 3. In my first ever live session, I won 14 pounds and I was over the moon. Soon after, I dropped 100 pounds, then 350, then 150. I nearly quit. But I persevered and eventually got through that first little downswing. After a break-even year at the start, I have won 5 figures every year since by playing part-time. So lesson number 3 is push through losing streaks. Pain is part of growth. And before we move to lesson number 4, make sure to grab my free cheat sheet, Exploit Every Player Type, link in the description below. Now, lesson 4. At first, poker felt like my favorite hobby, but for money. Then came bad beats, downswings, and insults. That's when I realized that it wasn't quite like doing your favorite hobby. Poker is a grind, and it isn't always fun. Treat it more like a serious job than a hobby. Lesson 5. I sat down at the table in a new card room and opened Ace-4 suited. A guy directly to my left 3-bet me. I felt attacked. The fight or flight mechanism kicked in. And I can tell you, I didn't run. So what did I do? I fought. I 4-bet shoved on him because, well, I didn't want to get bullied in my first hand, right? He snap called, turned over pocket aces and scooped a big pot. My ego cost me my entire stack. That's why you have to leave your ego at the door of the entrance to the card room. Lesson 6. Once I figured out how to win in live poker, I couldn't stop playing. I went to the card room 6 days a week and often played for 8 hours or longer. It went fine for a while, but after a few weeks I felt completely depleted. I didn't want to see any cards or bet any money. All I wanted was to watch Netflix, basically. That's when I understood that too much of everything is not a good thing. Therefore, expect and prepare for burnout and plan recovery strategies. But how do you do that? Well, one day I went to the gym in the morning before I played poker. I felt a bit sharper at the table even though I played for 6 hours straight without much of a break. I knew that exercise boosts your cognitive functions and is good for you in general, but it took me years to really learn this lesson number 7, which is very simple but incredibly effective. Go to the gym. Physical health improves focus and endurance at the table. Lesson 8. Did you ever notice those players who sit at the table and play the odd hand, but most of the time they're basically just texting their second girlfriend or watching the new episode of their favorite Netflix series? Or are you maybe one of them, you cheeky one? Well, I certainly was. But I missed so much of the action. I missed player tendencies and leaks that could have filled my wallet while being distracted by text messages. So that's why lesson number 8 is simple. Stay off your phone. Be present at the table to pick up on valuable information. The next one seems trivial, but is a big one. Imagine you have a shiny sports car. If you pour diesel into its tank instead of gas, the engine wouldn't run the way it should. Your body works the same way. The quality of what you eat directly affects how sharply you can think. Start by ditching heavily processed foods, but also alcohol and weed. Because lesson number 9 is, for maximum poker performance, you need to eat and drink well. Lesson 10. A lot of beginners are fascinated by solvers. They play around with different scenarios, learn what the computer would do with second pair against a check raise on the river, and think that memorizing these solutions will automatically make them crush the live tables. But the thing is, for most live poker players, it is not only a waste of time, but even counterproductive to study advanced solver concepts. When I started out, solvers didn't exist, but I made the same mistake. I watched high-stakes online players battle it out in heads-up pods, and then I expected those strategies to beat Joe in seed 5, who has been playing 95 of hands all afternoon. Therefore, study the right stuff, because efficient studying gets you the best results. Lesson 11. 2 years ago, I started coaching other players. What I found is that a lot of them struggle with pre-flop discipline. So naturally, I began teaching them what kind of hands to open or call and in what positions, what to 3-bet, etc. And then I noticed that I had actually not been doing what I was telling them. So now I really pay attention to my own pre-flop game. This has made me more consistent and has improved my win rate. So lesson 11 is, help others, you will benefit from it as well. And this brings me to the next lesson, because the previous one is not a one-way street. No matter where you are in your live poker journey, there are players who had the same problems you have. And they somehow overcame them and are now winners in the game. You can continue your grind and figure everything out by yourself, or you could ask for help. So lesson number 12 is get coaching from someone ahead of you. Speaking of other players, I once went to the card room at around 10 in the morning. A few minutes after I sat down, I raised ace-jack suited and got called by the gentleman to my right. I flopped a flush draw, made a c-bet, he called, the turn was a break, I kept barreling, he called again, and then bingo! The river brought in the beautiful flush. I bet big and the guy called very quickly with top pair. When I showed down my hand, he was surprised why I won the hand. The dealer explained it to him and then he said, "Oh, I didn't see that there was a flush on the board. I've been playing since 8 o'clock last night." Half an hour later, the guy fell asleep in the middle of a hand. This shows how crucial it is to always be sharp when you play poker. Lesson number 13 is therefore never compromise quality for quantity. Don't play tired just to log hours. Lesson 14. A long time ago there was another player who became known as Mr. Bad Beat. As soon as he sat down, he started complaining about some big hand he had lost. He admitted freely that he was a fairly big loser in the game, but he claimed it was all due to these bad habits. What he never acknowledged though was that he called pre-flop with 7-5 offsuit or Jack-6 suited. Had he played a decent pre-flop range, he could have avoided more than half of these situations that he called bad beats. So if you ever catch yourself talking about being unlucky, step back for a moment and reflect if that really is the reason. Because lesson number 14 is be honest about your weaknesses. Self-honesty is key. Lesson 15. Quite often the weakness lies in not doing the things that you should do. People get into live poker because of the fancy bluffs they saw on YouTube and they get excited about those big hero calls with queen high. But what would actually help them would be something very different. The problem is these things are not very sexy. There are often things like memorizing open ranges, learning how to exploit certain player types, or practicing patience instead of chasing action. So lesson 15 is do the boring stuff. Mastering fundamentals is crucial. Lesson 16. Do you ever feel satisfied after a winning session? You should. It's nice. Celebrate the wins. But are you also miserable after a bad session? Well, that's not so good, obviously. Riding these emotions is human, but counterproductive. Because variance is a killer. And even the best players will go on a bigger downswing than they ever imagined. But that doesn't matter. If you know that you are a winning player, all you have to do is continue what's already working. Because lesson 16 is don't obsess over short-term results. Progress takes months or years, not days. And here's another thing players do wrong. They keep folding the trash they're getting dealt, and then they see the reg in seat 7 rake in one big pot after the other. These moments can be very frustrating, but many players start having very unhelpful thoughts. They will feel like they are getting punished or are unlucky, while everybody else is hitting sets and straights and flushes left and right. But that's not what's happening. It is what you're telling yourself. In reality, these players got lucky in this one spot, but one day you will have that luck. So lesson number 17 is stop comparing yourself to others. Everyone is on a different path. But here is what you can do with regards to other players. I remember when I was new to poker, there was this one reg in my game who was a real crusher. He had started playing only 2 years earlier, but he was already one of the biggest winners in the pool. These days I see him on live streams and he has won quite a few tournaments as well. But I didn't compare myself to him after having played just 2 live poker sessions. Instead, I looked up to him and tried to figure out what he was doing that made him successful. So lesson 18 is find motivation from other players. Use their success as inspiration. Lesson 19. Just the other day, a motivated new player told me that he was playing 3 sessions of live poker a week and 4 sessions of online poker. Now, there is nothing inherently wrong with playing live and online. But if you are just starting out, you should not spread your attention so wide. Live and online poker play very differently. You need different skills to beat them. Even I, with all my experience, play a bit worse live after playing a lot online. It's normal. So focus on one game type. Don't scatter across formats. And before we move to the most important lesson, just a reminder to grab my free cheat sheet, Exploit Every Player Type. Link in the description below. And now, the most important lesson of all, lesson 20. If I were to sell a course called The Magic Formula, watch this half hour and you'll win every session in the future, this product would be a bestseller. People wouldn't stop messaging me. Everybody would want it. But here is the lesson to learn from this. There is no such course. And there is no magic formula, not in poker and not in life. Success is made up of doing the hard work and being disciplined. Sticking to these tips should get you a long way in live poker. But if you truly want to improve your win rate, you need to learn how to crush recreational opponents. In this video here, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that.